Discover Maputo, most beautiful city in Mozambique. Hello Displorers, welcome to another informative video presented to you by Displorer and thanks for watching. In this video we shall take a luxury trip down Mozambique to discover its most beautiful city, Maputo. Maputo is the capital and most populous city of Mozambique. Named after Chief Maputo I of the Tembe clan, a subgroup of Tonga people. Located near the southern end of the country, it is positioned within 120 kilometers of the Eswatini and South African borders. The city has a population of over 1.2 million people, distributed over a land area of 347,069 kilometers square. Maputo is a port city, with an economy centered on commerce, noted for its vibrant cultural scene, distinctive and eclectic architecture. Maputo is situated on a large natural bay on the Indian Ocean, near where the rivers Tembe, Mbuluzi, Matola and Infulene converge. Maputo City is geographically the smallest and most densely populated province in Mozambique, where the Bantu, Tonga and Portuguese are common, and to a lesser extent Arabic, Indian and Chinese languages and cultures are also present. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. The story of this city starts on the northern bank of the Espirito Santo estuary of the Lagao Bay, an inlet of the Indian Ocean. Lourenço Marques, which was named after the Portuguese navigator who with Antonio Caldeira was sent in 1544 by the governor of Mozambique on a voyage of exploration. They explored the lower courses of the rivers emptying their waters into the Lagoa Bay, notably the Espirito Santo. The forts and trading stations that the Portuguese established, abandoned and reoccupied on the north bank of the river, were all named Lourenço Marques. The existing town dates from 1850, with the previous settlement having been entirely destroyed by the natives. The town developed around the Portuguese fortress, completed in 1787. On 9 December 1876, Lourenço Marques was elevated to the status of village, and on the 10th of November 1887, it became a city. The Luso-British conflict for the possession of Lourenço Marques ended on the 24th of July 1875, with Patrice de MacMahon, the French president, ruling in favor of Portugal. In 1871, the town was described as a poor place with narrow streets, fairly good flat-roofed houses, grass huts, decayed forts and a rusty cannon, enclosed by a recently erected wall 1.8 meters high and protected by bastions at intervals. The growing importance of the Transvaal led however to greater interest being taken back in Portugal in the development of a port. A commission was sent by the Portuguese government in 1876 to drain the marshy land near the settlement, to plant the blue gum tree, and to build a hospital and a church. A city since 1887, it superseded the island of Mozambique as the capital of Mozambique in 1898. In 1895, the opening of the Zasim Railroad to Pretoria, South Africa, caused the city's population to grow. The Witwatersrand Gold Rush, which began in 1886, also increased the economic development of the city in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, as Lourenço Marques served as the closest seaport for the export of gold from South Africa. In the early 20th century, with a well-equipped seaport with piers, quays, landing sheds and electric cranes, which enabled large vessels to discharge cargoes direct into the railway tracks, Lourenço Marques developed under Portuguese rule and achieved great importance as a lively cosmopolitan city. It was served by British, Portuguese and German liners, and the majority of its imported goods were shipped to Southampton, Lisbon and Hamburg. With the continuous growth of the city's population due to its expanding economy centered on the seaport, from the 1940s, Portugal's administration built a network of primary and secondary schools, industrial and commercial schools, as well as the first university in the region. The University of Lourenço Marques was opened in 1962. Portuguese, Islamic, Indian and Chinese communities, but not the unskilled African majority, achieved great prosperity by developing the industrial and commercial sectors of the city. Urban areas of Mozambique grew quickly in this period due to the lack of restriction on the internal migration of the indigenous Mozambicans. a situation that differed from the apartheid policies of neighboring South Africa. Before Mozambique's independence in 1975, thousands of tourists from South Africa and Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, frequented the city and its scenic beaches, high-quality hotels, restaurants, casinos, and brothels. The words Aqui é Portugal were once inscribed on the walkway of its municipal building. The People's Republic of Mozambique was proclaimed on 25 June 1975, in accordance with the Lusaka Accord, signed in September 1974. A parade and a state banquet completed the independence festivities in the capital, which was expected to be renamed Can Pomo, or Place of Pomo, after a Shangaan chief who lived in the area before the Portuguese navigator Lourenço Marques first visited the site in 1545 and gave his name to it. However, after independence, the city's name was changed in February 1976 to Maputo. This name was given after River Maputo, a river which marks the border with South Africa in the far south of Mozambique. It had become symbolic during the Frelimo-led armed struggle against Portuguese sovereignty, after the motto which is Hail Mozambique, united from Rovuma down to Maputo. After the coronation revolution in Lisbon, over 250,000 Portuguese pulled out virtually overnight, leaving Mozambique's economy and administration unmanageable. With the exodus of trained Portuguese personnel, the newly independent country had no time to allocate resources to maintain its well-developed infrastructure. In addition, authoritarian Stalinist policies and bureaucratic central planning made the newly independent country slip into an extremely precarious condition since the beginning, and so the economy plummeted. Frelimo, now the governing party, turned to the communist government of the Soviet Union and East Germany for help, and by the early 1980s, the country was bankrupt. Money was worthless and shops were empty. Starting shortly after independence, the country was plagued by the Mozambican Civil War, a long and violent struggle between Frelimo and Renamo, which lasted from 1977 to 1992. The war adversely affected economic activity and political stability in the city. Operation Production was inaugurated in 1983 by the ruling Frelimo party to deal with the economic crisis. Undocumented residents of Maputo, the parasitic urban population, as well as individuals who displayed criminal behavior, were forcibly transferred to state-owned communal farms and villages in the rural north of Mozambique. On 11 July 2003, the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, better known as the Maputo Protocol, was adopted in the city by the African Union. Infrastructure. The central area of Maputo corresponds to a planned city with square blocks and wide avenues, with Portuguese traces and the typical architecture of the 1970s. Since it was tacitly considered neutral ground during both the colonial and the Civil War, recovery of the older infrastructure of the city has been slow, and most property developers in recent years have decided to invest in the construction of new properties, rather than rehabilitating any of the existing ones. The rates for property in the city are high as investment increases. Larger numbers of businesses are hoping to locate within easy reach of the airports, banks, and other facilities. The infrastructure is expected to spread out across vacant areas of the city, hopefully easing property prices within the next couple of years. As a coastal city, Maputo is particularly vulnerable to the impact of sea level rise, and population growth is putting increasing pressure on the coastal areas. Maputo also faces challenges in land management and tenure, given land is legally not for sale in Mozambique, as all land is property of the state, for which the state grants the right to use the land. Land, while not sold officially, is actively traded and exchanged on secondary markets, leading to the development of unplanned areas and slums in metropolitan areas, which the government, due to the lack of tax money, has no capacity to equip with infrastructure. The result of such policies is manifested in a crowded CBD, inadequate transport network, and crumbling roads. In spite of its previous instability and the current inadequacies, Mozambique is experiencing one of the fastest growth rates for a developing country in the world. With the growth rate running above 7.5%, Maputo has given some of its most remarkable structures. Some are the Edifício 24, the Maputo Business Tower, the Radisson Blue Hotel, and so much more. If you're in the city, you can visit the Jardim Tunduru or Tunduru Gardens, formerly called Vasco da Gama Garden, to enjoy the natural abundance of the city. Landmarks. During its 5 centuries of Portuguese colonization, the city has gained several examples of Portuguese architecture. Most of the noteworthy buildings are former colonial administrative buildings or current government buildings, such as the Fortress of Maputo, Independence Square, Samora Machel Statue, the Museum of Natural History, and so much more. Aside from these landmarks which have made Maputo a city of reference, the transport system, which includes buses, ferries, rails, air, and trams, have made tourism in the city very convenient and very accessible, hence more income. There you have it, Desparas. That was the discovery of the most beautiful city in Mozambique, Maputo. Thanks for watching this video, and if you did enjoy the video, do well to give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.